Hi, Chandru and Punin, are you there?
Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
Yeah, yeah, guys, is it
I'm
audible?
Yes, ma'am. Audible, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Yesterday I could not send the files for you guys. So today I will send it and you can practice. After the session, I will send and you can practice those validation related code. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
okay, ma'am.
So as I said that till yesterday we have done with the concepts like JavaScript validation part here. Then today we are entering into the ASP. Okay. So before going for an ASP here, let me know here, do you have any queries in the JavaScript?
Ma'am, yesterday you said like there are three more like
What my three more?
scripts are there, so I will tell you tomorrow.
May I know what are those scripts? Did I said anything? Email did I
Up to
say?
email is done, ma'am. Up to email is done.
Okay. Okay. Let
And
me share my screen because I don't remember what is pending in that. Let me check.
okay.
Validation form, validation part, I explained it right. Checking the letters, checking the numbers, string length, email ID, phone number. Yes, ma'am. So whatever I planned here that I explained.
Yeah, those are done, ma'am.
Chendu.
Yeah, it's done, ma'am. Whatever you said
Yeah,
right now, it's done.
yeah. Okay, fine. So any doubts in this? Because we are going to the new topic here. It is completely new for you.
No doubt, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So guys, here, whatever till now you have learned in apart from the .NET here. So it is an advanced technologies of that is web technologies here. Whatever the part you have learned is web technologies, and everything whatever you are working is you are working outside of the Visual Studio. So where you are creating a separate notepads here, and there you are writing the code, and you are going to embed all these things, and you are working with this. Okay, so why you have learned all these concepts? Because when you are going with the .NET, also in the .NET you have the front-end development and back-end coding and database. We have these all things here. To do that here, we are going to use this front-end, what we say here, HTML, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. So before going for an ASP here, I want to give you a 2 days training of database here. Because once if you know the queries, whatever we are using it and how the data storage we are doing it. So those all parts first you need to know the SQL part. Then afterwards I want to go ahead with the ASP. So why? Because immediately I want to start the ASP, but you don't have an idea of database also. So that is the reason here. Today and tomorrow session, I'm going to take the database related. Okay. So then afterwards, we'll go ahead with an ASP. So why it is needed means from ASP.NET here, you are going to post the data to the, means you are going to insert the data to the database, and you are going to perform some updations, everything you are going to do in that. That is the reason it is mandatory that you guys need to learn the SQL also. Okay. So do you have any idea about an SQL?
A very
Yes,
little,
guys. Yes, Chandu?
just a little bit.
Just little bit idea. What about you, Punyal?
No idea, ma'am, for me.
Okay. So let me tell you here what we are going to deal with it. So what is this SQL? So before going for SQL here, you need to know about what is meant by the database. So what is the database, guys? Do you have any idea about the database?
Where we use it to store the data.
Okay, so to store the data here, that is a general things here. But storing the huge amount of the data in a structural format, that we call it as a database. Okay, so just simply we are not storing it. You need to maintain some structure here, and whatever the data you are storing here, you need to maintain non-duplicate data, duplicate data. And at the same time, you need to maintain the relationship between the tables. So those all things you need to concentrate when you are going to store in database. But how the data can be stored in a structured format here? So to store the data in a structured format here, we need to go ahead with the tables. So tables are going to use in the form of rows and the columns, and that is the reason here it is very easy to store, and it is used to retrieve the data here. Okay, so now when you are going to store the data in the database here, then for the database there is a separate language called database. Only for the database a particular language is created. That language is nothing but structured query language. So structured query language. So this is the language only used for the database purpose. So it is not going to use for our backend coding purpose or not like that. It is completely mean for only database management purpose only. Okay. This structured query language is going to follow certain syntaxes here. So those syntaxes is used in order to create a database, how to create a database. Okay, database and tables, how to manipulate tables, how to delete the tables, how to delete the records, how to delete the columns. Those all things are formed and given as some particular syntaxes in an SQL here. Okay, so in this SQL, we have the different queries here. So here we are going to say that one as queries. So what is mean by a query here? Query in the sense generally you will think that I'm asking some question here. It is not like that. Query is nothing but we are creating a question for the database here. Okay. A statement we are creating, only that statement will be applicable only for the database. Okay. So here, what are the different types of queries syntaxes is available? So the first syntax is for create. Okay, so this create, we are going to do like create database and database name. So create database. So here company is my database. Okay. Once this database is created, then automatically the database is present in our SQL here. Now guys, when you are going to create, now you have created the company here. In the company, we'll be having the so many tables here. Like I may be having an employee table, department table, project table. I may be having so many here. But here, as I created the company here, inside the company, you need to create the tables. Okay. So how these tables are created? Create table. So table, this is a syntax, table name followed with column names and data type size. Okay, so these are we are going to maintain. So create table, table name, column name, data type, and the size. So in this, what I'm doing is create table. So table name is
Name, data type, size.
what you're saying? Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay. So create table, table name, and here the column names I'm giving employee ID. So as it is an employee ID, integer we can give employee name. So in terms of databases here, we don't have the string here. We need to use like varchar of 30. Means it is going to take the 30 characters. Okay. Gender. So when you are using the varchar here, it is going to accept the characters, alphabets, and numbers also. Okay. So here age, like this. So once this table is created, if it is executed here, then you are going to get like this: employee ID, employee name, gender, age, experience. This is a table is created. Okay. So till this part is clear, guys. Yes, any queries? Any doubts in this?
No, ma'am.
Oh, ma'am.
Okay. Now, once a table is created here, now one more thing is pending is that for every table, you need to maintain some unique values. Means whenever you are taking this one here, employee ID is need to be maintained the unique values. Means the IDs cannot be repeated in the table here. So in that case here, we have a concept called the keys. So we have the keys like primary key, foreign key, and unique key. Okay. So what is the help of this key? So primary key will be given only for the columns which you don't want to give any duplicate values. Means for the columns like email ID, mobile number, okay, and employee ID like that. So these columns is not going to maintain any duplicate values. Means the same email ID is not repeating here. Mobile number is also right. So once the mobile number is assigned to a person here, that number is not given to any other person. Similarly for the employee ID. For that you need to give the primary key here. So whenever you are giving the primary key here, that column is not going to accept any null values here. No null values will be accepted. You need to enter, definitely you need to enter any value for that. So whenever you're creating the table, so which column you want to give the primary key, before that query only you need to write it like this. Primary key. Okay. So the next you have a foreign key. So the foreign key is nothing but, suppose in case I have one department table and in that I have the department ID, department name, employee ID, category. So in this table, which is a primary key means department ID is a primary key. Then what is a foreign key means when you're taking these two tables, you can find a common column name here. Can you guys tell me here which is the column name is repeating?
Employee ID.
Employee ID. So employee ID is repeating, right? This employee ID is a primary key in this table. So whenever a primary key column is present in another table, that column we can take it like a foreign key. Okay, so if the same column is present in another table and if that is a primary key in another table, in that case, you need to give it as a foreign key. So the purpose of the foreign key is nothing but you can join the tables and you can retrieve the values here. That is the purpose. Okay, so that is about the foreign key here. Unique key is similarly like primary key only. Same like primary key. But it will accept null values. Okay, so that is the difference here when you are going with this primary key, foreign key, and unique key. Okay, now, so is it clear about this keys, guys? Because in the real time scenarios also you are going to use this primary keys, foreign keys.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So the next here it is is that once the tables are created here, now the next thing is nothing but you need to add the records to the table. By using an insert. Okay, so insert is a command. So generally we can say it is a command or a query scope. So insert command is used to add the records to the table here. So what is the syntax here we are going to follow for insert means insert into table name followed with column names, then values. employee table. So what are the columns I have? Employee ID, employee name, gender, age, experience, values. Values, what are the values you want? Or not one, I'm giving gender, so on. Okay, so if you repeat this for 4 to 5 times, first thing you will get an error that employee ID is repeating. Okay, so because you need to give unique values, so 1 or 2 you can give Robert. So like that we have so now so whenever you execute this insert record here, then automatically from Dale 25 8. Like this, all reports will be inserted to this table. So the static data I'm showing you guys. So like that we have the 1, 3. Okay, like this the reports are inserted. Fine. Now the insert of the values into the table is completed. Yes, any doubts in this query? Next, I'm going to take an update here.
Ma'am, if we want to upload 100 names, 100 IDs, is it possible in the same way?
Yes, no need of writing the same query. Here only you can insert it. Comma you can keep and directly what are the values you want to give it. Here you can give it. No need of writing the query 100 times.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Is that clear, Punil?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next one is an update query. So what is the purpose of this update means if any of the data, if you want to any of this data is you want to modify it, or if you are done any mistake here, then you want to go ahead with an update. Okay. So update, what is the syntax you need to follow for the update is update table name, set column names, value, where, excuse me, okay. So now update table, set columns and condition. So which columns you want to modify here, only that columns you can give here like this. Update, what is my table name here? Employee table. Set, which columns you want to modify. So in this record here, you can, I want to modify the Sarah age here, and I want to modify the experience here. So these two I have written wrong here that I want to modify. So for that purpose, what I can do here is set age is 22 and experience is 4. For which user you want to do it. The condition is that for which employee you want to do it. If you are not giving the where condition here, what happens means all the columns of age and experience is going to update to and 4 here. So only to the particular employee when you want to do the modification here that you need to give in the where condition. So for which employee you want to give here, employee ID is equal to 103 means the employee ID who is 103 want to modify the values with 22 and 4 here. Okay, and one more thing you need to follow when you are working with this means the employee or a column name who is having the primary key, that column only take in the condition. Okay, so the column which you want to give here, for that column only you need to give in the condition. Okay, so then automatically when you are executing this, age becomes 22 and experience 4 will be modified. Okay, so that is about an update query. So only the things you need to remember here it is whenever you are performing an update here, the primary key only you need to give, and then age and experience you need to maintain. That is about an update. Next. delete. So there may be a situation that you want to delete any one single record here. Okay, and those records, that's just 1 minute. Okay. Okay, sorry that. Okay, delete query is nothing but either you want to delete the entire records or only one of the employee record you want to delete it, that you can do it. So we have the two types of syntaxes here, that is of so if you use this record here, all the records from the table is deleted. So now the table will be empty if you are using this. Okay. So this should be used very as per the requirement. You can use this one. Okay. So but most probably what is the single record deletion we are going to prefer. Okay. So what is the syntax for single record deletion here? Delete from table name where followed with the condition. Where which employee ID I want to delete. I want to delete the employee ID 105. Okay, only that record will be deleted. Remaining all the records will be kept like this. Okay, so is it clear? Delete.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now which query is left is the select query. So generally here, just I'm going to show you this results here, but if you want to see this result here, we need a select query. Okay, the select query is a query which helps us to retrieve all the records from the table or selected records from the table. Okay, so that we are going to do with the select. So what is the syntax we are going to follow for the select? Select column names from table name. So I want to display only employee ID, employee name, and experience. Okay. In that case, what is the column names and how I'm going to display it means select employee ID, employee name, experience from employee table. In that case, just employee ID, employee name, and experience. Only these details you are able to see. This is the output I'm going to get. Now I want to display all the records of the table. So whenever I'm saying that I want to display all the records of the table here means, so this is for selected columns. Okay, so for that, select star from table. So all the records should be displayed. That is one scenario. And the next one here it is. Only a particular employee record I want to display. Okay. So to display particular record. So select the table here, employee table, where employee ID is equal to 102. So in that situation, what happens? Only that is the record it is going to display. Okay. And you will be having one more thing. In this particular employee record, I want to display only the employee ID and the name here. So in this case here, I can write like this. Select employee ID, employee name from employee table for which employee you are checking of employee ID is equal to 102. So employee ID, employee name it is going to display that is 102. Dot. Okay, is that clear? Queries?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now these are all called as CRUD operations. Okay, let me save this file. Okay, so these are all called as CRUD operations here. These operations only now you are going to do in your real-time projects. CRUD. CRUD is nothing but create, read, update, delete. Create, already you are doing it. Create and insert comes under this. Read comes under select. Update is nothing but update. Delete is delete. Okay. So these are the CRUD operations in the real-time environment. You are going to do it here. Okay, fine. Now, whatever the queries I have created here, everything in the notepad I have shown you guys. So, but real time you need to execute it, right? So, to execute this one, we can use any sort of the database. You can use an SQL, MySQL, Oracle, DB2, SQL Server, etc. Now, as you guys are learning the .NET technology here and in the .NET, more than 90%, more than 90% of the projects we are going to use the database is Microsoft SQL Server database. Okay, so this software, Microsoft SQL Server software, you need to install in your system to perform the thread operations and database related information. Now, what is this Microsoft SQL Server? The Microsoft SQL Server is an Microsoft product. Okay, it is an open source and it is used to create the huge amount of databases and the tables that we can access for our projects. That is the purpose of Microsoft SQL Server. And in this Microsoft SQL Server, we have an interface to perform all these CRUD operations, means directly with the mouse clicks you can do it. And we have an SQL editor to type the queries and execute. Okay, so that is what we are going to do in a Microsoft SQL Server. So, how to install this Microsoft SQL Server into your systems? Just what you need to do is means so you have the Microsoft website. You can see here these are the options is SQL Server on Azure, SQL Server Developer, SQL Server 2022 Express. So try to download this SQL Server 2022 Express only. So these are all is of cloud related one. Okay, and this is a real-time development environment. We are going to use this. Okay, and here on premises means in the company you are going to use it where the security is there. Okay. So here you need to download this. So when you're downloading here, you can see you are going to get this setup file like this. Okay, so that setup file you need to double click. And you need to install it. Click on yes and you can install it. But currently I have that software in my system. I'm not going to install it. So this is a procedural steps you can follow for installing of an SQL server. Okay, so once the SQL server is installed here, I will show you here what is an interface we are going to get it. This is the software here. SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. So now you need to open this SQL Server Management Studio. I have the old version, that is of 2019 version I'm using it. Okay, so you need to use an username and password also for this. Okay. So whenever you are opening the SQL Server Management Studio, you need to enter these details: server name and authentication. So what is this server name is? Server name. Server name is nothing but whenever you are installing the software in your laptop or in this system here, automatically it is going to take your PC name. Okay, so your PC name it will be taking and followed with the SQL Express. That is manner. Now the server type will be always in the form of database engine. By default, it will be there. If it is not there, directly you need to select the database engine and you can keep it. Server. Next, here you have an authentication here. What way you want to authorize this? SQL Server, either the Windows authentication or SQL Server authentication. Okay, so what is the difference between these two? I'm going to tell you here. We have the two different types of an authentication modes. One is Windows authentication and another one is SQL Server authentication. So what is this Windows authentication is mean for? When you are using the Windows authentication, this is called as trusted connection, and for this, no credentials required. So what credentials, username and the password is not required here. Here, SQL Server authentication is nothing but untrusted connection. So here we need a credentials. Username and password. So why I'm saying is an untrusted and why I'm saying a trusted connection means whenever your system is connected uh, in LAN network here, in that situations, you can directly access the server and you can use it. Everyone can access it and they can use it here, and you are able to know that these are the candidates they are accessing. What about this untrusted connection means if any of the user knows this username or a password of your SQL server, you might be having a chance that they can modify your data. Okay, if there is any chance of leakage of username and the password here, then there may be a chance of leakage. Okay, so that is the reason when you are opening this SQL Server Management Studio here, by default it is a Windows authentication bench, no need of giving the username and the password. But if you want to go ahead with an SQL Server authentication here, you need to give an username will be always yes, and the password you need to make the changes. Okay. So, but how this password will be there means when you're installing the software here, in that time only, it is going to ask you the password. So what is the password you want to assign for your software installation? That moment, that password you need to remember and you can use it. But if you don't remember also, no problem. Here we'll be having other options to get the password. I will tell you in future. So now if you are not going with the SQL Server authentication, you can select the Windows authentication. And next what you need to do means you need to click on connect. Okay. So once you are connected to this uh, SQL Server Management Studio here, in the left side, you can see here, we have the folders like databases, security, server objects, replication, management. Okay. So in this is nothing but all the menu options here. If I tell now, you cannot understand. While I'm using here, I'll explain you here what is the different options we are using. Now here you can see a database. If you hit on this, so you can see some of the database already I have created earlier, and that database I'm going to use it. Okay, and that database you can use for your projects and whatever it is. Now, in this, we have a system-defined databases and we have a user-defined databases. What is an user-defined databases means if the database are creating by the user means by yourself. So now here you can see here, these are all the databases I have created earlier. So this is an user defined. What is system-defined databases? If you click on here, we have the system-defined master database, model database. Okay. What is the difference here means? According to your project here, you will keep the name for the database and you can use it. Okay. Master database means only the database name will be the master and the database you can use for the dummy purpose. And if any sort of the tables you want to create here, that you can create under this master database. Clear, guys? So that is the difference between these two databases here. Okay, so the system-defined database will be used very rarely, but when you are going for the practice, only that purpose you can use it. But basically, for every time when you are going with every project, you need to create the new database and new tables. Then only that database is easy to access, and if you want to perform any manipulation also, you can perform very easily. Okay, so now as I have said these queries, right? So in the tomorrow session, what I'm going to tell you is whatever the queries with the syntaxes I have explained, right? This all I'm going to execute in this SQL server, and I'm going to show you here how we are able to see the database and how the modifications we are going to do it. Okay, so that part I'm going to explain you that.
Okay, ma'am.
Clear, guys? Any
Yes, ma'am.
doubts?
No, ma'am.
I mean, joints concepts also you will tell too.
What, ma'am?
Joints.
I did not get you.
I mean, will you tell joints concept also, ma'am?
No. Joins are not going to explain.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No, ma'am. That's it.
Okay, fine. So I'm going to close the session now, and I'm going to send the mail for the J here. He will forward to you. And
Okay.
tomorrow session, if you have any doubts in the today's session, you can ask me. Okay, but try to install the SPI service software in your systems. Clear?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Bye then.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Thank you,
Good
ma'am.
night.
Bye. Good night.